We're gonna be away, wiggy higger, he gonna be away, wiggy hig. We're gonna be away, wiggy higger, he gonna be away, wiggy hig. We're gonna be away, wiggy higger, he gonna be away, wiggy hig. We're gonna be away, wiggy hig.
Siyo, Nicut. Welcome to Cherokee Stories. Today I'd like to talk about Who Is Cherokee, and we are encouraged by tribal members to discern on who is Cherokee and who is not. That is greatly encouraged by many Cherokee citizens. Now, there is a general agreement by many Cherokees that there are Cherokee Indians and there are Cherokee citizens. And most all are all Cherokee citizens. But there is talked about a difference. Cherokee Indian is 1/4 or more blood quantum. Cherokee citizens are everybody else who are Cherokee members of the tribe. We also have United Kiowa Band and Eastern Band Cherokee Indians. So the three federally recognized tribes are Cherokee Nation, which is in Oklahoma, United Kiowa Band of Cherokee Indians, which is in Oklahoma, and Eastern Band Cherokee Indians in the Qualla boundary in North Carolina. And they are in our traditional homelands. Part of their trust lands are now the Gadua Mound, and that's a very sacred place for us. We have origin stories that include stories about our mound and also the Smoky Mountains. So, I grew up in the Seattle area and became more involved with the Seattle urban native community in the 90s. And I've always all my life I've ran into people who might ask my father, what are you? Just curious what his background was, and he would say Cherokee Indian. He's 1/4. And you run into a lot of people say, oh yeah, I have some Cherokee in me, or part Cherokee, whatever. And then I see people that are very accepted in the urban Indian community in Seattle that claim Cherokee. And I've even had them on my Facebook wall, and then they've been challenged on their identity and could not prove it. I've had a couple like that. And I back off. I don't interfere. It's every citizen's right to challenge somebody on that if they want to. And then it's up to that individual to prove that their claim as a Cherokee descendant or as a Cherokee Indian. Our tribe is the most documented tribe in America, and we can trace our ancestry. We use the Dawes rolls for our registration with our tribe, and that's what we've all agreed on. So I also understand that there are individuals who have committed their journey, their life commitment, their careers to helping the Native community in specific areas, and from my experience, that's Seattle. And I see them being recognized as natives of the community. They'll say that they are Cherokee and sometimes whatever else. And so I've chosen to respect that. I know that also we have our satellite communities that I've visited a few, and there are the same situation. There are people that claim Cherokee, and there are some that cannot prove it, but I respect their community because to me, that's like our old villages. In the old days, we had our villages, and people were adopted into those villages all the time. And I know a lot of people would say, well, they're not Indians. In those days, everybody was Indian, and you see documents of villages that were of people from Creeks or Shawnees or neighboring tribes. So these days, when we accept people into our communities and they can't prove that they're Indian, and they obviously do not look Indian, there's upset, there's disagreement. But these satellite communities need to gel and form bonds, and I think that it's okay that they have allies, or I just leave it alone. Now, where I would have issue is if somebody comes in and they create problems, and they're not being they're not going with the flow and helping out the community. Another issue I have is when somebody goes out to our Seattle urban community, our native community, and has issues with me and starts talking around the community negatively, and that has happened in the past, and they're claiming Cherokee and saying that maybe I don't respect Native women or something, and that's not healthy for our satellite communities when these things happen. First, if you have an issue, you should go and talk to that person. And then, obviously, it has to do with some people that just they don't want to they don't want to stick to our Cherokee communities and help out and become a part of our communities. I've seen it, and that's their choice, and I think that we could always use the help in our satellite communities. And I also agree with our Cherokee Nation. We do have bylaws that we have to stick to. Cherokee Nation requires that the board members on our satellite communities are over half the board members do need to be Cherokee citizens. And so I think that's important. I abide by that. I agree with it. I think it's even better when it's 100% Cherokee citizens or Cherokees from UKB or Eastern Band Cherokee Indians. I think that's a good program to stick to. And also, I try to be nice to people. I'm not out hunting down what many call wannabes. I'm not out to. I don't want to be somebody who's hunting them down. There's lots of other things to do. I think that sharing our culture to a certain limit, there are boundaries. Just like our storytellers shared in the book Cherokee Stories of the Turtle Island Liars Club. I forgot the name for a second there. They talked about there's certain things that we don't divulge to everyone. There's certain information that's meant for each community and for certain people. So, we don't do stomp dance out here. And there's, when asked to not share information, I try to stick to that. But some of our elders do tell us that if somebody's not Cherokee and they're claiming they are, and they're going into a leadership role and speaking as a Cherokee to the public, we're asked to confront them and say, please don't do that. If you're not Cherokee, you shouldn't be speaking as a Cherokee in public and representing us. because any way you put that, I mean, how can that be right? That's just wrong. You can't represent people if you're not a member of a Cherokee community. Then how can you represent them? That just doesn't make sense. And I think that's the main issue. I wouldn't say the main issue, but that is a big issue that I see in my own experience, is when someone is speaking to the public, saying, and they're representing us, and I have never seen them around any Cherokee community, and I don't know of them growing up in a Cherokee community. And so I ask you, how is that right? How does that make sense? How is that logical? It doesn't make sense. I understand that some people are very well liked, and so they're adopted into some Native families or some Native communities, and they're accepted as Native, but I can't accept them as Cherokee if they're not a citizen and they're not active in our communities. But I try to be nice and respectful, and if I do confront somebody, I try to be polite. And that concludes our show today. Wado, adonada go hai.
Wahilde wohi, wahilde wohi, wahilde wohi, wahilde wohi, wadagila sadi ayun, Sequoyah, wadagila sadi ayun. Wahilde wohi, wahilde wohi, wahilde wohi, wahilde wohi, wadagila sadi ayun. Sequoyah, wadagila sadi ayun.